Yes. The pre-service quiet will be announced. A musical piece will happen. I think you should do it.
You tell me where to go, I'll get it. Is that what we're doing? I don't even know.
Good morning. Let us now settle into a spirit of worship with a moment of quiet to be followed by the prelude. You are also invited at this time to light a silent candle of joy or sorrow.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Melissa McGinn. I'm the president of the Board of Management here at UUCW. I just wanted to give you a quick word to set your minds at ease about the presence of the fire truck in our parking lot. I'm sure you were wondering. The fact is we had a CO2 leak and our alarms were going off all over the building, so we had to have them come and help check that out for us. They have checked it out. They have aired out the place where the leak seemed to be happening, and we have been given the go-ahead, which is why you're here. So, and we will be having coffee hour. So, thanks very much, and turn it over to Maura Rouse.
Good morning. For our chalice lighting this morning, we're going to do a reading in 3 parts. I light this candle for all courageous foremothers who paved the way, our ancestors who bravely demanded an education, the vote, control over our own bodies, their womanhood.
I light this chalice for our descendants, our daughters and their daughters who will follow. May they have a smooth path, a life where there is peace, where there is equity, and where there is love.
I light this candle for us. May we have the strength and the courage, the self-esteem, self-acceptance, self-reliance, self-love, self-honesty, and self-confidence to continue challenging patriarchy, the oldest of injustices, through a bonding of us in community, in love.
Good morning. Is that too loud? No? Okay. Welcome to a very special Honoring Women service today. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Worcester, a congregation of love, hope, and justice, inspiring people to take on the challenges of a changing world. My name is Emily Constant. I am one of your worship associates this morning. We begin by acknowledging that in Worcester, Massachusetts, we work, learn, live, and worship on the seized ancestral homeland of the Nipmuc people, who survive and remain active as the Nipmuc tribe. If you'd like to learn more about the Nipmuc community, please see the brochure in our foyer. We offer a special welcome to those of you visiting for the first time in person and online this morning. We are delighted that you are here. We hope that you will join us in Fellowship Hall following the service for refreshments and conversation. If you have questions or want more information about this service or any of the ministries and programs of this congregation, please ask. We invite you to fill out one of the cards found in the pews. These cards can be placed in the offering plate or given to one of the ushers or greeters this morning. For those of you joining us online this morning, we offer you a very special welcome. For safety purposes and so that we might come to know you better, as you are able, please place your name on your video feed. Please take a moment to sign one of the attendance clipboards that are now being circulated. Though you are not obligated to sign, we appreciate your information and will use it only for church purposes. During the service, we offer an opportunity to share a brief personal joy or sorrow. If you would like yours to be read aloud, please print it on an index card in the pew and drop it on the collection plate when it comes around. These cards will also be posted outside the minister's office to be shared with our friends at other services. For those online, you can place a joy or sorrow in the chat, and we will share it during this time in the service. In the foyer are listening devices, large print service programs, and hymnals for those who may find their assistance beneficial. Please see one of our ushers who will be pleased to assist you. I invite you now to turn your technology to worship mode. Finally, please note the announcements on the back of your program. There will be time for short verbal announcements following the postlude. We are so glad that you're here and hope that this morning is an opportunity for rest, reflection, and rejuvenation.
Good morning. So you know how the order of service is merely a suggestion. The opening words this morning are not by Nelson Mandela or Marianne Williamson, and they're not being read by Maya Desai. The opening words are from Anonymous, who might have been a woman that was forgotten. We lit a candle for peace, peace in our hearts, peace in our homes, peace in our communities, peace in our world. We lit a candle for freedom, freedom from propaganda and lies, freedom from dictators and repression, freedom from war and bombing, freedom from oppressive religions and superstitions, freedom from bigotry and hatred, racism, sexism, ageism. We lit a candle for us. We who gather at this time and this place, we who will spend this hour reviewing our past and planning our future. We who empower one another to make our lives and our planet a better place. Blessed be.
At this time, I would like to call forward our basket bearers. Each week, these participants in our religious exploration program collect change to contribute to the emergency fund of this congregation. If you would like to contribute change this morning, please raise your hand and one of our basket bearers will find you. The emergency fund of this congregation provides needed necessities for families in our congregation and the community at large during times of crisis and transition. We thank you so much for your continuing support of this important ministry.
Good morning. My name is Evan Wilson, and I'm a member of the 8th Principal Task Force, and I'm here to deliver our 8th Principal Moment. If you are not familiar with what the 8th Principal is, there may be a cue card or pew card in your pew that at the very bottom of the UUA 7 principles, UUCW adopted the 8th Principle, which is about a commitment to anti-racism and anti-oppressive work. So for the 8th Principal Task Force aims to educate and inspire our community to incorporate anti-racist and anti-oppressive commitments as part of our faith. The 8th Principal Moment is a monthly opportunity to think more deeply about how racism and oppression manifests in our everyday lives and to continue to hold these issues in the forefront of our hearts and minds. With March being Women's History Month, I wanted to share some Worcester history that reminds us of the wellspring of activism that has existed in our fair city. In October 1850, did you know that Worcester was home to a national convention calling for women's rights, specifically the right to vote, to own property, to be admitted into higher education, medicine, the ministry, and other professions? You've aced the first part of the quiz. It took another 70 years since people gathered here in Worcester, long after most of the delegates to the Worcester Convention had died, before American women won the right to vote. I wanted to read a short section from the recognition of notable Worcester activist Abby Kelly Foster, one of the organizers of the convention. Abby Kelly Foster, working with Lucy Stone, organized the first National Women's Rights Convention in Worcester in 1850. In 1845, she married Stephen Foster, an ardent abolitionist and proponent of women's rights. The Fosters settled on Liberty Farm on Mower Street in the Tatnook section of Worcester. Anyone Tatnook Square? Yeah, where they both continued to work for their beliefs. They made Liberty Farm a stop on the Underground Railroad, and in 1873, Stephen Foster refused to pay taxes to protest the fact that his wife could not vote, even though she was co-owner of the property. Despite years of deprivation, unpopularity, and opposition, Abby Kelly Foster remained true to her moral convictions and helped make abolition a reality. As I was doing some research, I found that because of Abby and her husband's refusal to pay taxes, the municipality auctioned off their property, but in the spirit of mutual aid, what did their friends do? Their friends bought the property and gave it back. So, despite this happening 7 generations ago, 175 years ago since the convention, I hope that we can continue to remember our ancestors here in Worcester, those who are fighting on the forefront of women's rights. And I hope that, just like in the reading mentioned, we can be living out our values to be standing up against oppressions and patriarchy. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. Joan McGinn is ill today and was unable to come. I want to thank, before I move into the reflection, I just want to thank everybody present who has dealt this morning with the kerfluffle of an alarm and choir practice, and I really am grateful to Matt Johnson for his flexibility, to our sexton, Dee Hudson, to our RE director, Robin Mitskovich, because she was the first one here when, well, anyway, it's been quite a morning already. And Joan was really lamenting not being able to make it after having pulled together all these pieces for this particular service, which is so important to her. So I'm going to do the best I can to honor her words. I'll read them start to finish without my own editorializing or comment. And it's a privilege and an honor to be standing here in her place. Happy International Women's Day and Women's History Month. These events are increasingly being celebrated throughout the world, and it is a tangible sign of women's progress. It is especially important that we are honoring women today in our small church, because it is not being done in schools and government facilities anymore, along with the loss of Black and Hispanic History Months. This will likely persist for the next 4 years. But here and now, in our congregation, we join with the larger world and keep this tradition going, honoring women of all ages. Internationally, we have been in awe of teenagers like Greta Thunberg, environmental warrior, and Malala Yousafzai, I knew I couldn't say that word, Yousafzai, fierce defender of girls' education. Let us honor them. Nationally, we have Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, resolute champions of women's dignity and worth. Let us honor them. And here, locally in this church, we have 2 tireless older women who have become activists and whom we honor today, Ruth Silver and Beth Posner Waldron. They could not be here today. Ruth has been incredibly active on many church committees and was the initiator of our involvement with voting rights. Beth then got very active with the UU The Vote, became a trainer, and was heavily involved in the national UU The Vote. Under their guidance, our congregation received a citation for our church's impressive number of voters contacted. Certainly, they are women of honor. And they are not the only ones. So many women here keep the flame alive by their unselfish contributions in an ongoing way. If you have served on a task force now or in the past, or participated in any way to keep this place humming, please stand up. Let's acknowledge all of these women of honor. Stand up. Thank you for standing. In her book, Outrageous Acts and Everyday Rebellions, Gloria Steinem said, "Women are the only group that becomes more progressive with age." Certainly, Ruth and Beth are a testament to that. I've wondered why it is that women get more progressive with age. As an example, in the national elections in 2016 and 2024, there was a significant gender gap in voting for the more liberal candidates by women. I think women often come late to politics because they are often unavailable when younger due to the intensity of raising children and often having full-time job as well. Likewise, low self-confidence can often hold back women until they reach their 3rd act. And some of them eventually find their voices. Then, watch out. As I go to meetings and protests, I am always thrilled to see so many gray-haired women. And I think this congregation is fertile ground for young and old alike to become leaders and activists. There is a supportive community here who do social justice work and many opportunities to get involved. So spread your wings, find your voice, and come join us. I'd like to thank the women and men who generously contributed to this service. Thus ends the reflection for today. Obviously, because you've got an order of service, you see, we've got a lot more to share with you. You want to do it or no? Now is the time in our service for the financial offering, one that reflects the values and principles that we hold dear. I invite you to participate in our offering as the plate comes around today. And for those online, you may make a contribution digitally by either texting 508-232-5331 or by visiting uucworcester.org/donate. Are our offertory plates ready to come, Maya and Vicky? Thank you, Betty. Workers, all. And we get to enjoy the music provided by Matt Johnson.
We come to that time in our service when we pause to consider what is deepest in our hearts or most profoundly on our minds or the work of our hands in the days that have transpired or in the days to come. Joys and sorrows which touch us deeply and are given another measure of meaning because we can share them in the midst of a company that claims us as co-juniors. Those of you who have a joy or sorrow to share this morning are invited to form lines on either side of the sanctuary and come and turn to the microphone, telling us first who you are, so that those using our auditory enhancement devices may also participate in this important ritual, and then light a candle if you so desire. If you would like us to read your joy or sorrow aloud, please bring it with you on an index card from the pew. If you're joining us online this morning and have a joy or sorrow to share, please put it in the chat preceded by please read so it can be found quickly. Are there joys or sorrows to be shared this day?
Morning. Morning. My name's Josh Belden. Well, I got a deep voice.
No.
Is it on now? Okay.
Check.
Check. Morning. My name's Josh Belden. Got a joy and a challenge for everyone this morning. As some of you know, Sherry and I just returned from a trip to Savannah, Georgia. And while we were down there, we got to visit St. John Cathedral, the Basilica. And while we were there, we got to talking with the priest about Lent. And, you know, the old, you give up something for 40 days, right? Well, instead, we spoke about starting a challenge, start a new challenge for 40 days, start something new. And the challenge he gave us was do 15 minutes less of scrolling. That's it. And if you didn't want to do that, do 15 minutes of connecting with someone instead. Text a friend, call your mom, call your dad, And I thought it was just something I wanted to bring home. It was such a good idea. Thanks. That was it.
Good morning. My name is Laura. Joe Jenks last week kept talking about the middle ground, and during the week it definitely resonated with me because my middle ground always kind of like a bowling ball going in the gutter of joys and sorrows. So, as you know, my daughter grew up here. She did the same programs, but her mental health, as of right now, is winning. She is a pregnant, homeless girl for the past few years, and I'm raising her son. Sometimes I feel guilt because I'm doing all these fun things with Mason, and it should be with Rain. So that's kind of in the wayward of the gully. In 2 weeks, I turn 50, and start kindergarten all over again. Stay tuned to where I'm going to be in that gully of joys of sorrows. I have so much fun with him, and I'm so excited for him to grow up in this community. But it is all kind of about balance of joys and sorrows and finding that middle ground, and it's okay to be excited about Mason and still wonder and worry about how my daughter's doing. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Diane. Something touched me this week, and I'm going to pick up on your challenge, Josh, and allow you all to pick up on it. A member of our congregation who's been here for a long time and has played some important roles lives in Tatnuck Square, or near Tatnuck Square, and he can't get to church anymore without a ride. Here he is. So we've brought him here today, and I'm taking him home, but Bill would love to be able to come to church. So connect with him in fellowship hour. Change phone numbers. It takes about 15 minutes to get here from where he is, and we're going to make sure he has a lot of love.
Good morning, I'm Kim. Last week I asked for your prayers for one of my dear neighbors, Siva Narahari. He passed away yesterday, so please keep his family in your thoughts. He was surrounded by his friends and family who have flown in from all over the country and all over America and back from India to be with him at that time, so keep him in your thoughts.
Hi, I'm Debbie Merrill. I have a sorrow and a request for information. So Ken and I went to visit my mother and her husband last weekend, and my mother has dementia, and it's progressed considerably. She also has a lot of physical difficulty walking across the room. Right now she's okay as long as her husband is there to take care of her, but at some point, should he pass away first, they live in Florida, I don't. And so until I can get her into assisted living facility here, it's going to be very difficult. So I have heard that there are case managers who you can employ as an adult child who will arrange the kinds of assistance that someone might need, although my mother needs really extensive assistance. So if anybody has any familiarity with that, if you have done it for your own aged parents, please talk to me in Fellowship Hall, because I'm trying to be prepared if need be. So thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Jan Cutman. 3 things. Last fall, a friend and I went out to Seneca Falls to the Women's History Museum, where a friend of mine, until she retired, was the historian. So not only is it a wonderful museum, and I suggest you go before someone in Washington thinks it's DEI, and who knows what will happen then. Number 2, I just got back from going to Reno on the train both ways to visit Claire Brayton, who's out there companioning her mother with dementia and is in a nursing home. Claire is coming back, and she plans to be re-involved. And then number 3, the other day I looked out, and the daffodils are up this high.
I'm carrying the online congregation in my hand, and heavy. Dawn Dowd is usually our #1 person while I'm during sabbatical to be doing this, and she's home ill and her computer keeps going in and out. So I'm here for them because we're doing the best we can. And Joan is online. Yay, okay, I'm done.
And because I'm up here, that means I can start with my own joy. Some of you might know, in a ridiculously old age, I took up a new hobby called figure skating. This week I passed the Dutch waltz test, and what that really means to me is I have now am able to join the competition theater on ice team that I've been practicing with. In this day and age, we need to capture joy wherever we can. Spirit of life and love, we pause this morning to reflect on those things which continue to touch us deeply in sadness and gladness. In the midst of that which challenges us, we remember we are not alone and that we are indeed loved. Help us be mindful of this when we are apart from each other and when we feel most alone. Give us strength and courage to face the coming days with hope and courage that we can do what we must, and give us moments of rest and rejuvenation for the journey forward. We pray this in the name of all that is holy, true, good, and right. Amen, and blessed be.
And now I believe that our stewardship moment will be presented on Zoom. Frank, do we have David Showalter on the line? We have quite a few people sick this weekend. So thankfully, they're staying home to keep their germs to themselves. Just wondering, Frank, whether you can call him up on the screen. He's working on it. Okay, great. And it gives me great pleasure to present David.
Okay, another sick person. Thanks so much for having me in still. So we're 1 week in to our pledge drive, and I believe the Defying Gravity graphic has been updated to $87,320 with 26 pledges. So thank you so much for everybody who's pledged. We're well on our way. That means the average pledge so far is over $3,000, which is exactly what we need when we get. So we just need to get from 26 to 100 pledges, and so thank you so much. And I do want to announce that I will be brought in by Zoom to the lounge financial session after church today, so go get some coffee and then please come back if you haven't been to this yet. It's primarily intended for new pledgers or people who haven't pledged in a while, but everybody's welcome. And so thank you, Maura, Vicky, and Frank for allowing that to happen via Zoom in the lounge today. So thanks. And then now I'll turn it over to Andrea, who's going to give a testimonial about why she pledges to UUCW.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Andrea Cruz. I've been a member here for about 25 years. My parents moved us to this church way back when from the Quaker meeting so that I would have a strong peer connection while growing in curiosity, understanding, and acceptance of many different perspectives in faith and in life. I loved and still love coming to this church, and many times noticed the stark contrast between me and my Catholically raised cousins who would fight and even bribe their parents to let them stay home for holiday services while I was keeping an eye on the clock and planning around being at church during those times. I am so glad my parents made the switch for me and even became a member before them when I came back from college in my early 20s. This community has helped and watched me grow and thrive and continues to do so. In honor of Women's History Month, I will talk about the strong women who led me in growth throughout my time here. First, I want to recognize Deb Selko, Wendy O'Leary, and Robin Mitskovich, who are all leaders within the Religious Exploration Program here. I remember loving their energy, and still Robin's energy, and warmth, and felt comfortable reaching out to them as if I needed anything. Moving along my lifeline, I had the honor of experiencing, along with Betty Genuine, in decorating and putting together visual displays for the entrance by Fellowship Hall. Betty became a confidant in my teen years, and I would frequently call on her to help me figure out my messes before having to face my mom. As an adult, I was honored again when she agreed to take photographs for my wedding. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Okay. And she has continued to bring joy to my life every time I get to see her. Another life-changing experience being part of this community was having to go through the coming of age program here. This is a group of young teens or preteens who embark on a journey of self-discovery over a year or so long with a mentor, an adult person from this congregation. I was paired with Mara Pentlarch. She was also the second flute with me on stage this morning. During that year together, and that relationship encouraged Mara to pick up her flute again, and we have been able to perform a number of times together since then. Nearing the end of the coming of age year, we got a backpack full of letters from families and loved ones, including members of this congregation, for me, expressing how proud they are of my achievements, or they were of my achievements thus far, and my growth in love and kindness to become a remarkable young woman. Their words, not mine, though I'm inclined to agree. Last year, I was able to participate in a coming-of-age program for adults. This connected me to my past here, but also allowed me to connect to other adults, or children posing as adults here in this congregation. Learning from each other and challenging each other in discussion, debates, arts, and writing have allowed me to get to know more people here, strengthen my connection to this place and myself. Thank you, you know who you are. Finally, my personal exploration, connections, and understanding of the Unitarian Universalist principles have led me to continue to show love and compassion in my life outside this church. This month, I am also celebrating Social Work Month, as I am an adoption social worker, and it is my dream job. I can promote justice, equality, and compassion in human relationships, and I see the inherent worth and dignity of all of my children looking for permanency, and can help families looking to adopt to see that too. I help others and work within systems that are all connected to support my kids. Interconnected web. And while I have had much guidance to reach my place in this world now from this congregation, the most important and longstanding woman I have in my life who has provided me the exposure I gained here and to become who I am is my mother, Lynn Gastila. She made sure that I was able to access these experiences and help me understand them as I grew. While we can definitely butt heads, I know she has given me the structure and stability to explore and grow here and in every aspect of my life, and for her, I am eternally grateful. So why am I telling you all this? This is my journey here in this congregation and the programs and experiences that shaped me into who I am today. I remember these experiences and many more fondly at different stages of my life journey and have always come back here to this church and congregation of friends, home. I pledge to this church to maintain these programs available for the other up-and-coming youth who could benefit from these experiences as much as I have. My children, Victor and Gabriel, are part of the next generation of UUs, and I want to ensure they will have the same opportunities I had to learn and grow and thrive. Thank you all.
I now invite you all to join together in singing a participatory song. The words are on the back, and the tune is, what's the name of the tune? There was a woman who swallowed a fly. That's what we're singing today.
I'd like to invite Kai Flannery up for, I'm sure this is going to be a lot of fun.
Is this mic doing okay? Thanks, y'all. Can you hear me? I'm not sure. Okay. Loud. What'd you say? Good. Good? Okay, good. Hi. I'm Kai. Hi. Good to see y'all. I saw y'all a few weeks ago here in this service, or here in this sanctuary, and it's a pleasure to be here for the International Women's Day service. And I'll just also say that I was reflecting coming up here today, thinking about going to church when I was growing up, and particularly this one white dress that I hated to wear and had to wear. And I just wanted to appreciate to be able to show up in my sneakers and my whatever gender expression feels good for me here. And I just really appreciate that, and thank you for everybody coming together to help and create that space, this space, where we can show up and be comfortable and wear what we want and express who we are and how we see the holy. So what we had in mind for today to kind of okay, thanks, to close our service is this idea of, Andrea talked a little bit about the interconnected web, and other folks during the service have spoken too about the people on whose shoulders we stand, or the people that we stand in elbow to elbow with, or the people who lift us up and feed us. Like all of these different women and girls who inspire us and lift us and have raised us and birthed us. And so we wanted to take this moment to, maybe we can close our eyes and just think of some of the people in our circle, some of the women-identified folks, or people raised as women, some of the folks who have made us laugh, taught us recipes, been there for the everyday rhythms of life in a way that changed our lives, taught us things in the workplace, people who have told us the truth in ways we needed to hear. People who we've had fun with and been silly with. Women who have served us and who we have served. And as you're picturing your circle, I would like to invite you to speak out a phrase, a word, some of the things, a characteristic, something that's coming to mind for you about these special people. You can also shout out their names if you would like. And we'll try to do this one at a time so I can write it down. Yeah. Service. What's her name? Brenda Lee Pritchard. Thank you. What was she? Oh my gosh, head of the Better Business Bureau of Knoxville, Tennessee. Brenda Lee Pritchard, thank you. Yes, okay, so service. I'm going to write that down. Yes, Andrea. Sonrisa, beautiful, thank you. Yes, Laura. Oh, Ritz cracker pie recipe. And what's her name, Grandma? Grandma Lenahan's Ritz. Oh my gosh, a 911 dispatcher in Worcester. Oh, thank you for that. And she had an amazing Ritz cracker recipe. Wait, Ritz Cracker Pie. Ritz Cracker Pie. Okay, cool. All right, what else have we got? Yes, Cheryl.
Nell Myers, my grandmother, she ran a company in 1963.
Wow.
She was in charge of it, hospital supply, and then she took care of her mother, and we took care of her, and she was my grandma, and she was Grandma. That's her name.
That's amazing. Yes. So Cheryl says this is Nell Myers, whose nickname was Grandma, which is lovely, and also what else should I?
She ran a company.
She ran.
She was the head of the company, CEO of the company in 1963.
In 1963, she's the head of a company in 1963.
She also invented I forget this, but she actually has a patent on the drive-through. She was working in Kansas at her father's store, and when people drove up with their grain, she put a clothespin on the end of a stick and stuck it out so they didn't have to get out of the car to get their receipt. She patented it.
Hey, Kai, how about if you use
Patented.
this and I can carry this
If you would like.
so that the online community
Yeah,
can
I hear that. It's going to pick me up. Okay. So she patented the drive-through, and okay. Let me see. I'm also going to write down Ritz Cracker Pie 911 operator. And Better Business Bureau. Better Business Bureau of Knoxville, Tennessee.
My dear friend and mentor, Martha Pott, who was my advisor in grad school and has just been such a guide for me in my career and taught me how to negotiate my first job offer salary. Who I just got to have coffee with this week, so she's still an important person in my life.
That's amazing. Okay. Advisor in grad school who taught me to negotiate. What else do we have?
My grandmother, Olympia, she taught me how to make her amazing spaghetti sauce. And she raised 3 kids and worked as a classic switchboard operator for like 35 years. Like the old operator, call her up.
Did you say these people have to be older than you?
Oh, no. No. No, they don't.
I would then have to name 2 of my children, but one in particular, and they are in many ways, so one is Marcus, M-A-R-K-U-S. Oh, I don't usually have that problem, so now I'll, yeah, and the other one is named Reina, R-E-I-N-A. They're both approaching, well, one's already 40, one is not, I think, but, and I don't think I got a lot more than suffering from my own parents, but I just realized that my life has been enriched beyond, with these 2 children who were placed in foster care when their mothers were drug and alcohol addicted and couldn't take care of them, and they had to be in homes where they were not the beloved ones like the birth ones were. And the strength of character that these 2 people have is incredible to me. And I'd love to write a book about it, probably never will, but they're just amazing, amazing people.
Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to mention my sister-in-law, Natalie Price, who is a state representative in Michigan right now, which is a hard thing to do as a progressive. But she has been working tirelessly for all kinds of causes that I know align with ours. She's also a UU. But she, a few days ago, was on The Daily Show speaking about her work with gun buyback programs. And I'm proud of her tirelessness for fighting for marginalized and oppressed populations and trying to decrease gun violence.
This is strange, but Marlo Thomas, who made the record Free to Be You and Me and inspired us in the 70s, was it? Or early 80s to organize and create women's conferences, including one here and one in Newton for the UU women.
My grandmother, Virginia Lane, who was very special to me.
My great aunt Viva, who was one of the first graduates from the University of Michigan, first woman to graduate.
Amazing. What was her name?
Viva.
Viva. Oh, goodness.
So my mom, Cheryl Dare, she's a special ed teacher, or she was a special ed teacher, and she's very kind, and she helps me a lot too. I talk to her a lot.
One of our members here, Catherine Roberts, who makes sure that we're all taken care of each week in fellowship. If she's not here herself, she's delegated, but certainly very dedicated to our kitchen.
I just wanted to give a shout out to all of my classmates at Hollins College, a women's college in Virginia, and being a women's college in the South was a little bit more of a challenge. But my classmates, amazing people, to this very day, still my close friends and supporters, and talk about lifting each other up. We continue to do so, and they continue to do it for me, so. Hollins College, class of 1980.
1980?
I know I already went, but I can't leave out my mom. Lady. That was what she was known as.
Lady?
Yes, she, at 56, I think, she went to college and became a nurse, and then she started Life Flight in Lake Placid in Saranac Lake, New York. And when she died, we buried her in her Life Flight suit.
That's beautiful. The poem is coming beautifully. Anybody else?
Thanks that you passed you for passing the life.
I'd like to add my grandmother, Stella. She was raised my two uncles and my mom, but then, as you mentioned, later in life, she became involved in politics when she moved down to Florida. she was such a pain in the ass to the people in Port St. Lucie that they threatened to put her on the city council. And so finally she said, yeah, sure, why not? And so she was a pain in the ass on the city council too.
I have two to add. My mother, Sharon Templeman, who was a Title I special ed and English teacher for a juvenile facility for 27 years. She's an amazing woman, and I miss her dearly. And then my dear friend, Moira, who does so much for this church, and we are on similar journeys. It is a joy to see her every day. Every time I get a chance to see her and commiserate with her over our family lives. And I'm so grateful that I have her in my life.
Shucks.
Oh, I'm Susan Crosley. I want to recognize my mother, who graduated with a master's degree from the University of Chicago in 1937. It wasn't common, and her whole thesis, I read it, was on maternal child health. And lo and behold, didn't I become a midwife with maternal child health. Her name was Anne Crosley, and I'm very proud of her.
Thank you.
Just going to give you a minute. So I actually also have two. Hi, I'm Dan. I'm new. One is my my great aunt Martha Cummings, who was one of the first women to be a doctor of physical education in the United States. And the other was my grandmother, who was a elementary school teacher, but more importantly, taught me what one woman with a cause and a phone can get done. She had a habit of calling the city over and over again in different voices to complain about, broken sidewalks, potholes, and different injustices she saw around the city. And I have never seen a city work crew get to a pothole so fast as when she called them 12 times in a row, pretending to be different citizens. So it's really amazing what a little bit of phony phone calls can get done.
Hi, I'm Liz. I'm also new. So I am currently in treatment for cancer. And I want to shout out my nurses, Nancy and Amy, because I found out that not only are they taking care of me, they took care of my grandfather when he was going through his cancer battle, and my Aunt Nancy when she was going through hers. So it feels very like these people were chosen for me. And I never laugh so much as when I'm hanging out with them. And they are just wonderful women.
Thank you.
Kai, looks like your poem's getting really long.
It is. Yeah. Do we have more to say? We have more to add. Yeah.
I just wanted to mention my younger cousin Lola, who after she raised a couple kids of her own, adopted 6 young people from war-torn Sudan and raised all of them also.
Thank you.
Yeah, good morning. I just wanted to raise up both my grandmothers, who were named Minnie, who cleaned their houses and raised their children and made many meals and did laundry and all of those things in a time where they might not have been able to have other kind of goals.
They raised children and kept an amazing house, and they didn't have space for other goals. But that was it. What's that? Homemakers. I'll name two, maybe myself. One is a woman who got this scarf in, I think, Albania, my mother-in-law. She was a world traveler, and she just never met a stranger. And the thing to do if you were in a strange city in the world and you were stuck, for some reason you should call Sarah. Because she would be like, oh, yeah, I know some people there. And so, yeah, I'll just say world traveler. Anybody else? Got a pretty beautiful full. Okay, we've got a pretty beautiful full sheet here. And so now I get to read it to you. Now I get to read back to you as a prayer or a poem these amazing stories. Lady raised 6 children from war-torn Sudan. She's very kind, and I talk to her a lot. She's dedicated to our kitchen. She was such a pain in the ass, they put her on the city council. Olympia raised 3 kids and worked the switchboard. My mom, who was buried in her life flight suit. Better Business Bureau of Knoxville, Tennessee, free to be you and me. Advisor in grad school who taught me to negotiate. My mother graduated a master's degree, University of Chicago. Sonrisa, it means smile, all light. She's always smiling. Adopted children, adoptive parents. Raised my 2 uncles and my mom. Grandma, both of my grandmothers. The head of a company in 1963. My nurses, these people were chosen for me. Patented the drive-through. What one woman with a phone and a voice can get done. Service. Holland College, class of 1980, homemakers, raised children and kept house. My children, resilient. State representative in Michigan, organizing women's conferences, world traveler. One of the first women graduates. Lo and behold, didn't I become a midwife? Ritz cracker pie. Doctor of physical education, 911 operator. I'm so grateful I have her in my life. I've never seen a city work crew get to a pothole so fast. Tirelessness. Special ed teacher for 27 years. Virginia and Viva, Nancy and Amy, Aunt Martha, Moira, Catherine, Stella, Ann, Sharon, Marcus, both named Minnie, Raina, Nell, Natalie, Lola, Marlo, Thomas. My life has been enriched beyond. I never laugh so much as when I'm with them. Thank you. I'll make a clean copy of this. How about that? And we can look at it.
Thank you so much, Kai. Let us stand in body or in spirit to sing a hymn together. We are dancing Sarah's Circle. And dance if you want to dance. Is Susan Crossley? Oh, Mara,
I've got the benediction. May the blessing of light be with you always, light without and light within. May the sun shine upon you until it glows like a great fire, so that others may feel the warmth of it. Blessed be.
Our worship has ended. Let our service continue, first with some fellowship time together down the hall. Thank you for being here today. Time for brief announcements. Why don't you use this one?
This message is on behalf of Wendy O'Leary, who will be here next week for a UUCW parent and caregiver program. So her message is, sometimes life can be difficult, sometimes parenting can be challenging, and we can be really hard on ourselves. Learn how self-compassion can help. Join Wendy O'Leary to learn some ways of relating to the difficult moments in life that can help develop resiliency for you and your children. She will touch on topics in her book, Growing Self-Compassionate Children, co-authored with Louise Shaniger. And books will be available for purchase, and childcare will be provided. Send a childcare request to Robin at uucwre@gmail.com.
This is a note for all you drivers out there. Announcing the potholes actually works. I have you take a picture of it, you say what the size is, you put it online, and they will come and fix it. They fixed all the ones in my neighborhood last year, and now's the time to do it. I've already seen the DPW trucks out there fixing the holes, so let's flood them with all the holes.
Okay, announcements are done. Thank you.